How many ways are there to get from point A to point B if you can only go to the right or down and cannot pass through point C or point D? So what would we have done normally? Well, we would have just said that we have to take a total of 5 steps to the right and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps down. So we have to take a total of 11 steps, and we have to choose 5 of them to be steps to the right. We can do that in 11 choose 5 ways. So our answer would be 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 divided by 5 times 4 times 3 times 2. And we figured out what this is. But there's one problem with that. This time, we can't go through point C or through points D. And if we do this, then we're counting any single point from point A to point B, including paths that go through C and D. So we can't do that. So let's start off by shrinking our problem down. Instead of going to this point from point A, let's get to this point right here. How many ways are there to get from point A to this point? Well, that's easy. It's just 1. What about this point? 1 again. And what about this point? We could go this way or this way, so that's 2. Now let's try to get to this point. The only way to do that is to go down twice. So there's only 1 way here. Now how many ways are there to get to this point? Well, to get to this point, we either have to get to this point and go down, or get to this point and go to the right. So there's 2 ways to get to this point. Then there's 2 ways to get to this point by getting here and then going down. And if there's 1 way to get to this point, then there's 1 way to get to this point right here by coming to this point first and then going to the right. So if there's 2 ways to come through this point and then down, and 1 way to get to this point and go to the right, then there must be a total of 2 plus 1 ways to get here, so it's 3. And let's double check. We can go this way and then down, so we went to this point right here and then went down, or we could go this way and then down, and finally we could go right here and go to the right. Now how many ways are there to get to this point? Well, that's 1. And all of these points right here are 1, because the only way to get to them is by going straight down. So 1, 1, 1. And the same on this row. The only way to get to any of these points would be going to the right. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Now how many ways are there to get to this point? Well, there's 3 ways to get to this point and then go down, and 1 way to get to this point and then go to the right. So there's 3 plus 1 ways to get here, which is 4. And we can keep doing this. There's 5, there's 6, there's 7 down here. This point, there's 1 way to get to here and then go down, and 2 ways to get to here and go to the right. So 2 plus 1 is 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6. Now to get to this point, there's 3 ways to get to this point and go down, and 3 ways to get to this point and go to the right. So that will be 3 plus 3, which is 6. For this point, there's 4 ways to get to this point and go to the right, and 6 ways to get to this point and go down. So there's 10 ways to get to this point. There's 15 here. We can't go to D. And this point, well, for this point, since we can't go to D, the only way to get to this point is go through this point and go to the right. And there's 7 ways to get to this point, so there must be 7 ways to get to that point. And this point over here, we can't get to this point C. We're not allowed to. So the only way to get here is to go from this point and go down. So there's 5 ways to get to here. There's 11 ways to get to this point. Now this point right here, we can only get to it from this point and then going to the right, because we're not allowed to go to this point. So there's 10 ways to get here. Okay, So that would be 15 plus 10, which is 25. We can only get to this point by going to this point and then going down. So there's 25 ways to get to that point. There's 40 ways to get here. 66 to get to this point. 65 to get to this point. There's 32 ways to get to that point. There will be 97 ways to get there. And there will be, I think, 131. So to get to B, there will be 131 plus 97 ways, which is going to be 228. So that is our answer.